Hello, my name is Francis Runzel and I'm back with another video. So, on the theme of mainstream thinking being garbage, I want to take a rewind back into the days when I first found out about meditation. Now, one of the biggest obstacles or roadblocks for me specifically to meditation was this idea that you have to quiet the mind, that you have to empty your mind of thoughts, right? Now, I don't know, I've done a lot of research into it. I've taken a program, I've done transcendental meditation. I know a lot about meditation nowadays. I've taken a lot of different, what do you call those? New age courses, I guess, classes. I've learned different styles, and I've found that there's 5 different types of meditation. So I'm going to just rewind to the history of the roadblock. It was this idea that you have to quiet the mind, that you have to stop thinking, that you have to empty the mind, right? There wasn't any emphasis on these other different styles of meditation, and it was kind of short-sighted. So take a moment to consider this. Imagine when you take a moment to inhale and to exhale just a little slower than you inhaled. And you just kind of repeat that. So you inhale a little slower, and you exhale a little slower. And as you do that, you begin to calm your mind. Things begin to slow down, right? So what we know now is that when you relax, when your mind begins to slow down, your body accesses the parasympathetic state. So you access the rest and digest state. So your body can begin to heal. So as your body begins to heal, well, what happens then? There's some activity in your body. So consider this. Now, what we now know, for a long time, because of the way science works, it's very reductionist. It compartmentalizes things. So we had the mind and we had the body, and we used to treat the two differently. We used to think that the mind was kind of running the show of the body, but if you've been around, and this is what's interesting, this goes back to mainstream garbage. If you've been paying attention to the science and the research that has come out, we've painted a very different picture about the mind-body system. And that's what I want to introduce, is this idea of our body as a mind-body, a body-mind. They both influence each other simultaneously. So any changes in the mind will affect the body, like we just noticed. Calming the mind allowed your body to heal, to enter the rest and digest state. But now any activity in the body will affect the mind. So when that loop is coming back, the body begins to move, so then the mind begins to move, and that's where you start getting thoughts that pop into your mind. Doesn't that make sense? So you start here and you begin to calm the mind, usually with breathing exercises and focusing on the breath. And as you focus and you begin to relax, your body has a window to begin to heal. It initiates that healing response. So as you initiate that healing response, activity begins to build in your body, but is reflected also in your mind. And so what happens is thoughts will pop into your mind of 2 things that you're currently releasing, that you're healing through, that you're letting go of. And then thoughts of things that your body would like you to resolve, things that you can change to become who you want to be. And so that's where the rest of these videos are going to go into. It's those thoughts, those kind of underlying things that are in our brain, in our body, in our neurology, that you would like to let go of. Automatic behaviors. You're going to understand how the brain is wired and how to rewire your own brain, okay, based on the principles of neuroscience and the work of Dr. Jeffrey Schwartz. So it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very cool. So this is one of the biggest myths growing up that I had, one of the biggest roadblocks. So in the previous video, I was talking about how I've been holding myself back. I haven't been releasing this information because I've been waiting for the mainstream to catch up. And it pretty much has, for the most part, on this. Maybe not so much in the meditation department. The thing that, this is just personal preference, I don't really like the thing with wearables and things that train you to meditate because they're very superficial and they don't teach you a skill. Also, they're causing you to rely on technology. So if you are without your technology or you can't afford it, you can't basically benefit without it. Does that make sense? It's kind of a crutch. My whole philosophy is to be free of crutches, to be an individual, that's why I emphasize free thinking. So I want to present the 5 different types of meditation, and it's really kind of easy. If we just take a moment to consider that we have a short-term memory, or what's also known as the working memory. The working memory has 3 components. It has a visual component, so like a picture or a movie, but some kind of visual aspect. So when you're daydreaming, often you're dreaming in pictures, where you want to be instead or what things would look like. And there's another component. It's the auditory component. So we have visual, we have auditory. So it's like things like a soundtrack, sound effects, or both. Lastly, we have what's called the title, the meaning, the semantic meaning behind what's in our short-term memory. So we might be, and here's the interesting thing, and we're going to get into so much cool stuff. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Say 2 people are studying the same thing, and they're looking at the same images. Maybe they're watching a video on YouTube. So they're seeing the video, they're hearing the video, and one person's saying, wow, this is very cool, this is exciting. And then the other person's like, oh my God, this is crap, this is boring, right? It's the same, 2 of the components are exactly the same, but they have different titles, they have different meanings, right? Think about how differently each person will wire that into their brain, how different their memories will be of that experience. One person's bored, but one person's having a lot of fun, they're engaged. They got dopamine pumping through their body, locks in on it, and they just can't get enough. So it goes right into your memories for, recall later. So aside from all that, I want to go back into meditation. Knowing that we have these 3 different channels, I'd like to explain to you the 5 different types of meditation. The first one is visual. So one thing that you can do is to just hold an image in your mind. So a lot of New Age schools, they'll present an exercise where you train your powers of visualization. So if you imagine you have these channels, meditation is ways of exercising these channels, of strengthening them, of increasing your skill with each of these different things. So wearables and stuff can't help you develop your visualization powers. They can't help you relax while you do it. And they can't trace that stuff. So you can actually get the effects of that rest and digest state while just focusing on an image and holding it in your mind for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, however long you want to go. Now, you want to kind of pick an image that, I don't know, is peaceful or neutral, because that has a meaning. There's a meaning tied to it, It kind of goes back into how there's always meaning ascribed to our experience. But that's another video. We'll get into that. This is just about meditation. The second type of meditation is mantra meditation. This is where you take one phrase and you just repeat it. Now, the generic one is Om. You just kind of sit there and you go Om. And so you're holding Om either externally through your voice or internally in your mind, and that's what you're hearing. So you're occupying your auditory channel. You're meditating with a mantra. Does that make sense? So you're practicing that relaxation in a different way. And it's all about finding the way that works for you. What really helped me get a breakthrough away from this was mantra meditation, because it got me to drop my self-talk, to drop my inner dialogue, and I just zoned out. And then 5 minutes in, I was just very relaxed. I didn't even have to be doing that anymore. I could just appreciate the meditation and then come out feeling really good. So the third thing that there is to listen to music. So it's the opposite component. Mantra is it's really more about your self-talk. It's your inner dialogue. When you listen to calming music or waterfalls or a spring or a stream, or there's a bunch of audio recordings online, even binaural beats and stuff like that. That is a form of the auditory channel being occupied, auditory meditation. So in a sense, I know I said that I don't like wearables personally. I like to be able to use my own neurology to practice those skills and to not be dependent on something. But this is one way that you can practice the auditory version. Auditory meditation. So we have 3. There's visual, auditory, and then there's the spoken, the Om. There's also the empty mind, where you do let go of any thoughts. And I want to add that caveat. So it's not that you're killing thoughts, you're not killing the ego, you're not destroying the monkey mind, you're not doing any violent operation to yourself. I'm going to elaborate on that idea in a future video. Sorry, I should go over here. This is mainstream garbage. In a future video, I will be talking about how important it is to actually, to treat yourself with respect, to appreciate yourself, to not kill things off or do violent operations towards yourself and other people in your circle, like that you want to have close to you. Does that make sense? So with no mind, what you're doing is, yes, you're letting go of the urgency to have those thoughts, and you're kind of blanking the slate. But know inevitably that when you slow down and you relax and when you empty your mind, that your body is going to be healed. It's going to be healing. And as it does that, thoughts will pop into your head. And you can make a note of them to work on later, or you can just let them pass by. A lot of people use the imagery of, just letting like the words pass by like clouds in the sky, right? So you're combining other elements of your neurology, your visualization skills, and your unconscious's ability to create metaphors. So, this is a longer subject than I thought about meditation. I guess you can't just fit it into 5 minutes. There's a lot of caveats, and that's what I think is an issue with a lot of mainstream content producers, even, is that they want to jam out like a 5-minute video, like 5 ways to do this, here it is, but they don't go in enough to where it makes sense. They don't get past the nuances that need to be addressed, So taking a step back to the empty mind, your unconscious, I guess this is just something for another time, but basically what we experience is not what's outside of us, because we translate it into the sensations we feel, and then on top of it we distort it further by putting a meaning on it. So again, remember the two people watching a video, one person's watching it and they're super excited, they're super interested, and they're like, yes, this is amazing. That's their meaning that they're putting onto the stimulus. Whereas the other person that's watching the same video is like, this is crap, this is just garbage, right? Okay. That is just a function of being human. So it's important to be in charge of your meanings. And this is like the absolute key to get away from being a victim, is to be in charge of your meanings. And a lot of people don't realize this. They borrow other people's meanings, and they're like, oh, well, this means this or this means that. And a lot of it has to do, I'm going to be a little blunt, it has to do with weak identities and insecurity. It's people that aren't strong enough to have their own opinion and to put it out there, so they want to be accepted by regurgitating other people's bullshit. So remember in the previous video, I was talking about how I'm going to help you get away from that, to be a free thinker, to live the life you want to live, to get the results that you want, to define what it means to be who you want to be, not based on what other people think and say you should be, but on what you want instead. Make sense? That's what this channel is all about. So for the last form, it's kinesthetic. We have a feeling ability. We have the sensations, the ability to generate feelings. So if you take a moment, and I want you to consider the last time specifically you felt really excited about something, right? I don't know what it is. Maybe it was, maybe it was going on a trip. Maybe it was having a day off work. Maybe it was hanging out with someone that you haven't hung out with in a long time. Maybe it was, just anything, whatever it was that made you feel really excited. Take a moment to go back there now. So you're feeling that feeling now. You're feeling that excitement, that energy inside your body, those sensations. Some people feel those sensations in their chest. Some people feel it as an openness, and everyone experiences it differently, right? And whatever way you're experiencing it is perfect for you. So what we can do in a meditation is to access that time when we felt really excited, when we felt really alive. And when we feel those sensations, we focus on them and keep them alive. And we build them up and we loop them. So we're meditating again this time. It's all about focus. At the root, meditation is all about focus. And that's what it helps you do. That's one of the biggest byproducts of meditating is increased and strengthened focus. So by focusing on these sensations, you keep them alive inside yourself. what you're also doing, we're going to get into this later, is you're strengthening the neural connection. So that way it's easier and easier to access this feeling. Now, the more that you loop it, the stronger it becomes. And the stronger it becomes, the easier it is to feel this way. So that way in the future, you can feel this way for no reason. You can just say, hey, I want to feel this way, and it's easy. And so this is something that might be foreign to a lot of people. I know it was for me, and it's because of mainstream garbage thinking. Namely, that men aren't supposed to have feelings, right? So I've done a really good job of repressing any sensations and emotions and feelings I have. The interesting thing is, that leads to dysfunction. That leads to a removal of our power, the people that can call upon these resourceful states at whim, that's true power, and that's what I want to teach you. I want to help you learn from my mistakes. So this video is getting kind of long. There's a lot of stuff I still have to unpack, but what I would really appreciate is if you could comment below. I'd love to hear what you got from this. Number one, what you got from this. Number two, what questions you have. How would you like me to elaborate? What was confusing for you? What would be better? Does it make sense? There's 5 types. There's visual, holding an image in your mind. There's auditory, listening to a soundtrack or, some external noise, like, river and stuff. There's kinesthetic, that's channeling that feeling, maybe that feeling of drive, of passion, whatever it is that you want to experience. Maybe it's peacefulness, right? If you're meditating, you want to get really relaxed. Maybe it's just tapping into that relaxation. So that's 3. The more time you spend channeling these emotions, these states, and really feeling them, the easier it is for you to shift between them and to just call upon them at will. So you're practicing and training these skills. 4, there's mantra meditation. It's when you have a spoken word that you repeat over and over, either aloud or inside your mind. And then 5, finally, it's removing the thoughts. It's just being present. It's being one with your surrounding. It's almost like blending in to where you can't experience a distinction between where you begin and end. Does that make sense? So those are the 5. I'm really excited. I think what I'm really going to do, since this is kind of really long and there's so much to unpack in each one, is to I'm going to make videos of these 5 in time, so that way I can guide you through the process. I kind of already guided you through the kinesthetic, the feeling one, but I'd like to go into it deeper, and I'd also like to tie in this neuroscience, like everything we know nowadays, that where we've graduated past this and now we're over here, basically that. So I hope you enjoyed. Remember, I know I said this in the first video, hit the subscribe button, click the bell. The reason why is YouTube is going to feed you garbage. It's going to give you shit that you don't want to see. So by subscribing to channels that you like, channels that are informational, that help you grow, to help you be who you want to be instead, and by hitting the bell, that's the important part. I don't know if you've experienced this, but I am subscribed to so many people, but I didn't click the bell, on any of those profiles, because I subscribed a long time ago. I don't ever get any notifications from them. I don't get any of their stuff. It doesn't even show up in the toolbar anymore on the side. Over here. I don't even see that stuff anymore. So by clicking subscribe and clicking the bell, you make sure that you're getting the content that you want, and you get away from all the shit that is contracts and handshaking behind the scenes with YouTube. All right. So take care.